Just because you have not had the same experience doesn't mean that someone else has to minimize or downplay how they describe what happened to them. You don't have to yuck somebody else's yum. And as an example, yesterday or day before, I don't remember, but I shared with you all how I got my mammogram. If you have been here with me for a while, I have shared multiple videos. And in that other video, I linked to all of the videos where I shared what happened and what my experience was, right? Right. So naturally with social media, you're going to get a lot of people who just randomly comment on your post because they see things. And on Threads, I was giving a play-by-play of what was going on. And if you're new, I had a cyst aspirated or removed during COVID in 2020. And it was scary because things were moving so fast. I was being told what to do. And I didn't have anyone there with me. And the doctor was just trying to get me to do this procedure without explaining what was going on. And so I finally said, everybody stop. What if I do nothing? What are my options? If we do this aspiration, what does that even mean? Why do I need it? Show me on this ultrasound where the cyst is. And I want to be able to make that informed decision of why I'm going to move forward with this. And then we had a conversation and I said, oh, okay, that makes sense. And given how a lot of elective procedures were not being held at the time, it made sense. And naturally, when you're simply writing, you don't always get that tone of what was going on. And at the time, I was afraid. I was very scared. But I also had to try to manage my emotions enough so that I can ensure I was getting the care that I needed at the time. So what does somebody inevitably do? They try to tell me that I'm giving directives, and that's not good communication, and that's not going to help me reach my, if you don't get off my page, blocked. And to some people, will it sound like I was being a super direct, and some would argue aggressive? I don't care. I don't. Because you weren't there in the time, and you can't tell me that you wouldn't have had a similar response. Here are the clips. Here are the clips that that person also walked right into. And I stand behind what I said. Yes, I will back up your schedule. Yes. Because you're not answering my questions. And then if I start crying and get hysterical the way I wanted to, then you would have disregarded me as something being wrong with me. But until I get the answers to my questions, somebody gonna answer them. Somebody. It don't have to be you. You can leave the room and come back in. But I need somebody to help me understand what I'm about to go through. And the radiologist at the time did in fact step out for something. I was like, you go take a walk or do something, but let's try this again. I understand this is a very stressful time for you as well. I get it. I literally am on the units. I'm in the practices with you all. So I see what's going on. I see it. But right now, I am not in an admin role. I'm in a patient role, and I'm seeking understanding. And I expect you to document that in my chart, that I was not given adequate patient education as a result of this. When that radiologist left, there was a tech who was a woman in there with me, or she presented as a woman. And she literally looked at me, grabbed my hand and said, I'm really proud of you for standing up for yourself. And she said a lot of patients will not push back, even when you can see that they're visibly confused. And I'm really proud of you for taking care of yourself. And I wouldn't have even thought to ask some of the questions that you asked. So I'm really glad you did that. He's also not a very nice person. I said, oh, okay, great. Well, we're going to shift the atmosphere today. But again, I shouldn't have to do all of that. No patient should have to do that. And when I tell you, by the time I got to the car, I sobbed, absolutely positively sobbed, because I had to try to control my emotions. I had to mask, literally and physically, and I had to stand up for myself. And all of these things are going through my mind, especially the conversation that I literally just had with my mom about the fact that I needed that mammogram at that time. And she didn't even have the health literacy and the knowledge and even the compassion to be like, oh my gosh, like that is scary. I'm sorry you have to go through that. And I'm sorry that I'm not there to be able to help you. Like, I reached out to multiple people when I found out I needed to have this, and I was there alone. So this is why, for me, I go so hard when it comes to advocacy, and why I'm very much so a no-nonsense person, because I know what I can and can't do, or what should and shouldn't happen for the most part, because I also help to educate and design the system that said providers use, on top of being support, on top of shadowing, on top of being a part of the implementation of said tools, on top of now writing my capstone about technology and tools and the perceptions of how healthcare leaders use and implement these tools. So y'all this area right here, y'all can't tell me too much about what I shouldn't be doing or what I can't say. You can't do that. And have you met a surgeon lately? Have you seen how in many instances they have very direct styles of communicating? And if I go in there all weepy, whining, and crying, they're gonna look at me like, what you want me to do with this? Not the case for every physician that I've encountered, but I come into contact with quite a few of those types. Don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. That is it. That is all.